Coach, welcome to your first coffee with Coach Douglas.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, anytime I can have a little cafe mocha, it's a good thing.
Well, let's just jump right into it.
Absolutely.
We have Panhandle State coming in this weekend.
Yeah.
Big time game here at Batesville High. What do you think? What's Panhandle State off? What are some of their twerks and things that you have to watch for?
Their quarterback's really good. I mean, he is super athletic, throws the ball pretty well. They use a lot of RPO game, run pass options, and literally a lot of it is him running as well. I think just a drop back pass a lot of times for them is a run pass option. In a lot of ways, he's like Zay. Where very athletic with his legs, very dangerous, does a pretty good job of getting the ball to the guys in the right area, and he's got some receivers that'll go up and get it. So, for us, really, that's the key is making sure we stop him. They're very stingy on defense at times. They can do some things with their blitz game. I know Coach Majewski very well. He's going to try to light you up at some point on offense, and so we've got to protect tonight or tomorrow night, and we've got to be able to run the ball effectively.
I noticed they have 3 different quarterbacks that they could run in and out all the time, and several stable running backs too. So, what have you guys kind of done to work on trying to stop those guys?
It's going to be some sort of run game by committee. So I don't know if there's anything necessarily we've done to hone in on just a certain plan for a certain attack, but we know we have a pretty good feeling of what they're going to do run game wise, and so we're really attacking the scheme more than we are the personnel more than anything.
You had a bye week last week.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of talk about what you guys, healed up and corrected and got ready for this game.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have the perception that when you have a bye week, you're just out there and you're killing them, and it's like preseason camp, and maybe some places you still do that. But we take the counter philosophy. We really want to rest our guys up. You want to take into consideration the accumulation of all the work that they've done through preseason camp. We didn't have a hard camp, but we had a very structured, organized, and consistently improvement-focused camp, and then went through first 3 games. And first 3 games are where you're going to take a lot of the majority of the bumps and bruises. At least in my experience, when you have significant numbers of injuries, they tend to happen in those first 3 games because you're not really fully game ready until you've played a few of those games. So for us is really about resting our guys. We only practiced twice last week. We practiced on Wednesday and Friday. We only went for 90 minutes each. We went back to some fundamentals, but particularly on special teams. We weren't very happy coming out of camp where we're at fundamentally with our special teams. Schematically, I felt like we were fine, but we just needed a lot more work. And so we spent a lot of work on, we do every day, but we really spent a lot in the bye week working on the fundamentals of our special teams work, whether it's open field blocking, whether it's avoidance in the kickoff game, whether it's our punt protection, which we were a little bit concerned about, just some lapses and some poor fundamentals there. And I feel like we've cleaned that up, but time will tell for sure.
Exactly. Some of the positives that the team, running back, quarterback, of course, Isaiah, you've got Jalen at running back, you've got a couple of others that can do the job too. Receiving core, talk about some of those guys and their individual specific roles right now.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, break the news, Jalen Babers is out. We thought, coming off the Wayland game, we went for a whole week thinking it was probably just a light separated shoulder, but he had a lot of swelling and mobility and still had decent strength with it, which they run counter to each other. You wouldn't expect that with a separation to come out to be a pretty severely broken collarbone. And so he had surgery just day before yesterday. He's out for the season, unfortunately. It was very disappointing. Really disappointing for him because he spent his entire summer here getting ready to be the number 1 guy and had worked his way into that and really felt like he's had 2 really good games. The Wayland game wasn't a great game for him, but I think he was poised to bounce back, or at least mentally, and then we get the news about his collarbone. So really sad and disappointed for him. But the good thing is, we've got a pretty good stable of running backs, and we feel really good about Aiden Huntsman coming in and stepping in as the number 1, starting off, and Emerson Price continues to improve and get better and get a better feel for it. And I tell you what, the surprise of all, not necessarily surprise, I guess, even last year, I felt like he was going to make a really nice hand for us was Jacob Ramirez. Coming in as a freshman, we really felt like he would be a little bit farther down the road developmental-wise, but he really came on last year as a freshman and gave us at least a glimpse of what we thought his future would be. And now, I mean, he's our number 2/number 3 running back with Emerson, and we feel fully confident to put him in the game. He has great hands. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he understands how to run the inside zone for us, which is our primary run play, and does a wonderful job with it. So, we feel Jake is just going to step in and continuing to improve and really be a nice hand for us at running back, and became our number 1 punter. When he gets hold of it, he can boom the ball. So he does a nice job, and his biggest task in the offseason was improve his op time, which he has. That's kind of saved us a couple of times on punt team because he's able to get the ball off his foot quickly.
The 72-yard punt against Wayland Baptist.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, tied a school record.
That's crazy. What is it going to take, down in the trenches where the game's really fought and hard? What's it going to take for us to take advantage of it?
Both sides for our team have to play well. Our defensive line has to stop their counter sweep, has to stop their power play. We need to get a little bit of pressure on him, on the quarterback. We've got to push him to our linebackers who are ready to pin down and make a tackle there. Offensively, we've got to get back to being able to be that nasty, gritty, more fight in the dog than size of the dog type of offensive line approach that we somehow lost at the Wayland game. We did not perform very well on the offensive line 2 Saturdays ago. We've got to get back to being effective running the ball like we did at Mobap, and at times even against Ottawa. I mean, I felt like we blocked really well at times. A lot of times we just got outran against Ottawa. So if we get that offensive line back for Saturday, we're going to be okay.
Awesome. Special teams, you talked a little bit about that. Well, talk about Kevin Kosakar.
Yeah, Kevin, I tell you what, he's a unique kid. Most kickers are, but he's got a really neat personality about him. He works very hard at it. I get out now with those guys about 30 minutes before practice every day and just work with Tyler and with Kevin, just working on their stroke and working on their kicks. And really, for me, I try not to get in the way. It's kind of like I feel like the ultimate golf coach, except I don't have to drive them to the tournaments. But just give them attaboys and give them a couple of things that I see and then let them do their thing. But, Kevin's coming along. He's going to continue to strengthen that leg. This is his first opportunity really to be able to play in games. He transferred in for the University of Arkansas where he walked on and was trying to make the team there, and just couldn't quite break through. But we benefited from him just reaching out and showing interest, and we ran with it, and we've given him opportunity, and he's taken it bull by the horns and has done a really nice job. And he's really doing some things that we weren't sure we could ask him to do that he's been able to pick up on. He'll continue to improve with his ball placement, which was an issue a couple times at Wayland and at Mobap, but some of that's just experience and getting used to what we're asking him to do.
Oh, cool. It's good for a freshman to come on and do something.
Absolutely.
Like that. I know we talked a little bit about the running quarterback and you have to stop him, but what else about Panhandle State concerns you?
I think it's going to be the things I don't know. We do know their secondary is experienced, and probably the strength of their defense. I think everybody knows that we've struggled being able to complete big passes against man cover. So I fully expect that we'll see a lot of man cover, just like we do just about every Saturday in this conference. But if we can continue to make the improvements that we've been working on in the passing game, with that, I feel like we've got some guys that can make some plays. We've got to continue to refine how we're doing that and let that show up on Saturdays. But it's a process, and it takes time. So, I feel like the secondary, if they play really well against us, it'll be a struggle. But if our offensive line can play well against their defensive front, I think we'll be able to counter what they may be able to take away in the pass game. So I feel like that's where the turn is going to be for us. And then really on defensive side, if we can contain their quarterback, I don't fully expect to stop him, but if we can contain it and contain their run game and force them to try to make some big plays and eliminate as many of those as possible, we're going to be sitting pretty well defensively as well.
Excellent. I know I looked at some of the scores, and last week they put up 52 points against Texas College.
Yes.
But they've also gotten beaten pretty bad, too, in certain times of the year. So, I'm looking at this as it could be either way, but this is a very winnable game for the Lion Scots this week.
I think since I've been here, OPSU and us are very similar teams. We have a lot of similar types of structures of our program. Coach Majeski and I have coached against each other, not just here, but at other places as well. He'll even tell the story about how he recruited me out of high school when he was a young coach at Kansas Wesleyan. But we've known each other very well, very good friends. It's going to be a nice matchup because of the similarities of the two teams.
Excellent. Anything else we can add here on this one?
No, I think we're good. I think it's good.
All right. Hey, thanks for talking to Coach Douglas this morning. This is Coffee with Coach Douglas.